You're listening to the Empowered Divorce Podcast, where you practice being the chooser in your life again, one day at a time. Thanks for joining me. Hello, my amazing, beautiful listeners. Welcome. Thank you for being here with me today. Sometimes in life, as we go about our daily life experiences, things that we do that we think don't really have a point, sometimes we find some meaning, sometimes we find some purpose, sometimes we find some healing tools, which is what happened to me this past week. What started out as a simple decluttering project turned into a powerful reminder of how we hold on to things, how we hold on to people, roles, patterns, cycles, long after they have stopped serving us. So in this episode, I am sharing 5 healing lessons that I found through decluttering and reorganizing my drawers. Lessons that can mirror the work of healing after betrayal and divorce, from releasing guilt over letting go or re-choosing what gets to stay in your life, to celebrating those quiet victories, quiet healing moments that you have that no one else perhaps will ever see or recognize or even validate. This is so much more about organizing clothes today, and the metaphor that I am using, I just want to first acknowledge that it is a metaphor. Nowhere am I in this episode comparing decluttering a drawer to the very real, tender, hard, devastating experience of going through betrayal and divorce. Sometimes, at least the way my brain works, I like metaphors, I like parables, I like things that in everyday life that I can relate a deeper meaning to. It helps organize it in my brain, and it really does sometimes help remove a lot of the emotion that obviously comes with everything that we're dealing with healing after a life-saving divorce. Sometimes when we can parcel out the intense emotion and see the principles, see this, maybe even steps that we can take, it helps to put one foot in front of the other. That's my intention, where I'm coming from today when we're learning about decluttering our inner world, the same way that you might approach decluttering a drawer. Maybe this episode helps you to notice how you've been holding on to guilt, fear out of habit, and stepping into more intentional, empowering choices. So today's episode are 5 healing shifts for life after a life-saving divorce. So I decided that it was time to clean out these 2 dresser drawers that I have that have a lot, like an embarrassing amount of hoodies and sweatshirts. I'll let you all in on a fetish that I have. I cannot pass up a hoodie or a sweatshirt. In fact, I buy more hoodies and sweatshirts in the summertime than I do in the wintertime. I love a good hoodie. I love a good sweatshirt. I love it. The comfort, everything that it represents. Okay. And when I say I have a lot, again, it's going to be embarrassing if anybody ever knew exactly how many I have. So I'm not going to tell you that, but I will tell you that it fills up 2 dressers that I have of sweatshirts, hoodies, and pullovers. So I decided it was time to go through them. I need to go through them. I don't wear a lot of them, but I absolutely feel like I have to hold on to every single one of these sweaters because they all had a purpose. I bought them all for a reason. I love every one that I buy. In fact, I don't necessarily enjoy shopping, but the rule that I have for myself is that I don't buy it unless I love it. So again, this is going to sound so weird, but every one of those hoodies, sweatshirts, and pullovers that I have, I absolutely bought standing there in the store going, I love this. So little background on all of the I love this sweatshirt that are in my 2 dressers of drawers. But it's getting to the point where when I put a new one in, I'm having a really hard time closing the drawer. I was like, all right, I need to go through these because I don't wear all of them. I decided to pull them all out and go through all of these items of clothing. But the moment that I started pulling these things out, I threw them all on my bed, I noticed something surprising, that it wasn't just the incredibly embarrassing amount of sweatshirts that I had all over my bed that I was holding on to. As I started to hold them up and assess them and look at them, separate them into piles, I noticed that I was feeling guilt. I noticed that the giveaway pile that I had, every time that I put a sweater or hoodie over there, I started to feel guilty. There was this sweatshirt that I hardly ever wore anymore. And, experts say if you haven't worn it in 6 months, toss it. So that's my barometer. I was like, okay, here's my haven't worn in 6 months pile, haven't worn in a year pile. Okay. As I'm looking at these piles that I started to create, I was shocked that I started to feel guilty to get rid of them. Thoughts like, well, I spent a lot of money on that one, so I shouldn't get rid of it. Or what if I do want to wear it one day? What if I go through my drawer looking for that black pullover and now it's not there? Maybe I'm going to feel guilty. Maybe I'm going to feel sad. Maybe I'm going to, right? All of these thoughts I started noticing were coming up as I was making these piles and considering letting go of some of these items of clothing. Each item also had a little story, a little tug of war in my head. I should keep this. I paid money. I really loved it. So why do I not love it now? Maybe I should still love it just as much as I did when I first bought it. Really interesting to notice the thoughts that were coming, and it hit me. I wasn't keeping these things because I really wanted them. I was keeping them because I felt obligated to and guilty if I let it go. By the time I finished, every sweatshirt, every hoodie that made the cut to get put back in the drawer was something that I genuinely liked, something that I felt good when I put on. My drawers weren't storage for the past anymore. They were now starting to reflect who I am today, how I want to dress today, my style today. That was another thing that was interesting is that I was holding up a lot of these pullovers, and I do remember why I loved it when I bought it at the time, because I remember at that time the style that I had, the feeling that I wanted to create in my life when I bought that, whatever that was, right? Going through the different phase, what I wanted to feel when I had it. Like for me, maybe some of you don't emotionally connect to your clothes in this way. So you're like, Amie, you are really, really weird. I know, I get it. That's totally fine if you don't relate to it that way. When I buy something, I am more mindful, I guess, when I do buy something. So there is an emotional element there, I guess. So I held up this red pullover, and it says freedom on the front. Well, I don't hate the sweater. I just don't wear it anymore. But as I was holding it up and looking at it, I remember why I loved that so much. I bought that in a time in my life where I was really embracing choice and freedom and feeling freedom. So it really resonated with me when I saw this pullover. It was V-neck. I love V-necks. It was a really cool kind of washed out red, which matches kind of that punk rocker kind of vibe that I was really into. Then just the white words of freedom written across it. Well, that really resonated with me at the time because of what I was embracing and embodying at that time. I'm more living in freedom now rather than trying to embrace it. I really don't wear that hoodie. I don't wear it. I haven't worn it in a year. In fact, I'm years up. We're gonna add S to that, multiple S's for the last time that I wore that. It definitely needs to go in the giveaway pile. But my drawers today, and again, you're gonna see the metaphor here in a minute, but my drawers today, what I put in them needs to represent what I'm actually wanting to experience wearing today. That represented the past. I didn't need that anymore. It didn't represent really where I was at and feeling anymore, which is why I haven't worn it in quite some time. My drawers were no longer storage. They didn't need to be storage for my past anymore. They needed to reflect who I am today. And here's the other thing. Nobody else will ever see inside of those drawers. Nobody ever opens those drawers but me. No one knows the tiny emotional journey that I went through in organizing them either. But every time now that I walk past those drawers, knowing what's in them, knowing the process that I experienced to organize them, put everything in there intentionally, I feel this quiet spark of satisfaction when I walk past that. It's kind of like my own sense of knowing what's inside. So what a simple afternoon of just decluttering, it turned into a reminder of something much more powerful, powerful healing truths that showed up in that experience that I had. And those 7 truths I want to share with you today. The first one is letting go of guilt. Cleaning out a drawer isn't about tossing out old stuff. Cleaning out these drawers, it wasn't just about tossing. I thought it was. I thought I was just going to put everything on the bed and go, nope, 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 nope. And it turned into so much more for me. When we, quote, clean out the drawers of our life, when we try to clean out what is no longer serving us from the past, we're really trying to step into the present, create a future. This is so much more than just tossing out old stuff, tossing aside experiences from the past. It's really bumping into the emotional residue of what we attached. So again, that red sweatshirt that had freedom written across, I attached to that, which is why I've held on to it for the last 7 years. That has been in my drawer for 7 years. After betrayal and divorce, this can look like being attached to the person that you were married to, the life that you believed you were building together, attached to the future that you thought you were creating together, attached to the dreams that you were wanting to have, attached to the roles, maybe the role of stay-at-home mom. We have attached to so much that we want, so much that we believed we were building together with this person. We've attached to unhealthy patterns, cycles. Letting go can bring up a lot of guilt, shame that you invested in big time in that past. I invested in every single one of these sweatshirt, hoodies, and pullovers. I put money, some of them I paid a lot of money towards, and just letting go of them, just tossing them out isn't as easy when we've invested and attached to these things. That's why when people say just move on, and why haven't you moved on already or by now, it can feel like a real emotional dig. It can feel hurtful, and we can feel guilty, start to shame ourselves for not moving on faster. Why haven't I gotten over it now? What is wrong with me? We invested in the marriage. We invested in our ex's family. We invested in the family unit and holding on to that. So taking something out of the drawer of your life, like ending contact with unsafe people, or saying no to unhealthy requests, or dropping roles like people pleaser, fixer that you used to play, can feel like tossing out the sweatshirt labeled people pleaser, problem solver, accommodator. The truth is, the cost of keeping what no longer fits in your present day life or in your future that you want to create, the cost of keeping that is often higher than the cost of letting go. A self-reflection question, something to ask yourself. I'm going to give you 7 journal prompts. This is an episode that you want a pen and paper to, okay? Should have said that before. But so number 1, letting go of guilt. A question that you can ask yourself to help further explore this for you in however you want to make this metaphor relatable to you. What am I holding on to that no longer serves me? What is it costing me to keep it? Holding up that faded red freedom sweatshirt. What are you holding up? What is that sweatshirt labeled for you? Is it people pleaser, problem solver, fixer, anger, guilt, bitterness? What are we holding on to that no longer serves you? And what is it costing you to keep it? Okay, so going back to the pile of sweatshirts, hoodies that I have all over my bed, and I'm making these piles, and I'm choosing which ones I'm no longer interested in wearing, choosing which ones don't match my style, choosing which ones that have been around for, 12 plus years that I just forgot about, making all of these different piles. And then really what I'm doing now is stepping into, okay, what am I consciously wanting to choose to put back in my drawers? When I put each sweatshirt back, I wasn't, again, just organizing. I was choosing again. In betrayal, this is huge. Post-divorce, this is huge. For years, you may have defaulted to choices that kept the peace, that met the other person in that relationship's needs, or kept you in the role that you were, quote, assigned. maybe felt like you needed to have, should have, supposed to have, can't let go of, because otherwise that breaks the attachment, that loses something. Choosing what you put back in your quote drawer is saying yes to whatever goes in that space. What are you saying yes to right now? Is that something you really want in your space, in your quote drawer? Choosing again is, yes, this still gets a place in my life. So again, metaphorically, I'm taking the sweatshirt, taking the hoodie, and it's yes to this color, yes to the style, yes to the comfort, yes to the feel, yes to this in my life. This is a huge shift when you're navigating life after divorce. It's so important to look at all of the pieces of life, hoodies on your bed. What are you saying yes to? What are you saying yes to that maybe isn't serving you anymore? Maybe you really don't want to say yes. Maybe you feel like you should say yes. Maybe you're feeling guilty if you say no. After betrayal, so many of our yeses aren't active choices. They're leftovers, leftover commitments, leftover roles, leftover patterns that we didn't even realize that we subconsciously agreed to and don't really want, don't really need, doesn't really serve us. Sometimes we keep them because they're familiar. It still feels safe, even though it really isn't. Sometimes because we don't want to rock the boat. And sometimes because we're scared of what it means to let go. In your past relationship, you may have chosen things without even realizing it, saying yes to family traditions that no longer fit, tolerating behaviors that you told yourself you could, quote, handle, saying yes to experiences that your body is involved in that you really wanted to say no to. Right now, are we saying yes to parenting schedule changes because we feel like we have to, even though it really doesn't work for you, really doesn't fit into your schedule? You don't like how it fits. It's uncomfortable. It's too tight, too big, too small, but you're saying yes anyways. Are you agreeing to be the one who flexes your schedule because you've just always been the accommodator? Are you keeping relationships that drain you, that don't serve you, that are actually maybe harming you because, they're part of your old life? So maybe I'm supposed to keep them. Are we hanging on to your excess social media for clues, trying to tell yourself that you're just staying informed? Are we agreeing to those last minute changes in schedule because saying no feels too risky? Or potentially inviting conflict if we say no? Or are we holding on to the rigid routines and rules that were set post divorce to avoid that feeling of vulnerability again? It's too dangerous to lean back in and be vulnerable, staying very surface level in friendships, surface level with friends, family. We're trying to avoid all of that discomfort because we're not ready to build those emotional connections yet. That's just not safe yet. Maybe we're saying yes to activities or commitments that we don't actually want or need, just to keep people at a safe distance emotionally, whichever direction that is. Holding on to beliefs like I'm better off alone, I can't trust anybody. The key with intentional re-choosing is that everything gets reevaluated, not just the physical things like sweatshirts, emotional ties, habits, roles, and even the beliefs and values that you have worn for years. Does it still fit? Does it still fit you? Is it still your style? Is it something that you presently want to wear and feel good in? Do you want to take that with you in your future? Or is it time to let it go? Healing starts when you create your life based on who you are now, not who you were when you first put that in the drawer. And every re-chosen yes is going to be more powerful because it's intentional, not a default, not an obligation, not a survival tactic. So self-reflecting question here for re-choosing what goes in your drawer is, if I were choosing this for the first time today, would I still choose it? And if not, what would I choose instead? Healing practice number 3, private inner wins. Like I said, as I walk through my bedroom and I see those 2 dressers, no one else knows what's in there. No one else knows the order. No one else knows my experience of reorganizing and being intentional with what's in that drawer, but I do. And it feels good, right? Just feels good. When you clean out the junk drawer, when you wipe out all of the crumbs in the silverware drawer and you close it, and no one else ever makes a comment. Like, of all the years that I have been taking the silverware out of the tray, wiping up all of the crumbs and putting it all back, has there ever been anybody in my entire household that has ever said, "Hey, mom, thanks for cleaning out the crumbs in the silverware drawer"? No, right? No one's ever going to acknowledge that. I know it's done and it feels better to me, which is why I do it. I feel better about it. I'm proud of it. The same is true after betrayal and divorce. There will be victories that no one else claps for, that no one else acknowledges, that no one else even notices. That when someone walks by, they might not see. The blocking the toxic contact, going a week without checking your ex's social media, keeping a boundary under pressure. These quiet wins absolutely matter. They are proof that you are building that sense of self-trust within you, that you are creating a space within you that feels different, good, organized, clean, whatever word you want to use to describe the work that you're doing on the inside. It matters and it's important, it's intentional, it's healing, even if no one else sees it. Some of your biggest healing moments will never be social media, Instagram post worthy. In fact, some will be misunderstood, questioned, or even criticized by the people who benefited from the old you, the you that maybe overfunctioned, the you that kept the peace in the family unit or the friendship, the you that acquiesced, that just was, easy, breezy, lemon squeezy, not a problem, don't have needs, don't have opinions, or just said yes to everything, even when it costed you, even when it was too tight and you couldn't breathe in that hoodie, you said yes anyways. And now you're taking it off. Now you've discarded it. Now you're only wearing hoodies that fit, that breathe, that are comfortable, that speak to your truth, to your style, to your role that you really are choosing to take. These wins are going to be private because they're deeply personal. They're often going to be invisible. Sometimes they're going to be criticized. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's the wrong size or the wrong style. It means it's different for them. For example, maybe you're telling your ex no to a schedule change that doesn't work for you, even when they're calling you difficult and you the problem. Maybe it's not replying right away to a guilt-laced text from a family member or a friend or even your ex. Instead, you're sitting with the discomfort instead of rushing to fix it. Maybe it's choosing not to spend a holiday with people who undermine your boundaries, even when it's your kids, your extended family, or mutual friends, even when no one else understands. Maybe it's deciding to stop explaining or justifying your decisions, knowing that those who want to twist your words will still do that no matter what. Maybe you're finally booking that solo trip, signing up for the class, starting the hobby that you used to be told was a waste of time, and doing it without anyone else's permission. These are the moments that might never get the public applause. In fact, you're going to probably ruffle some feathers, but they are proof that you are building again that self-trust. You are choosing you. You're stepping out of the old patterns that kept you stuck. So a self-reflecting question here is, what private victories am I proud of, even if no one else understands or approves of? What are those internal healing, life-changing, choosing moments that feel good and organized and clean and the right fit and the right style right now, that are in the drawer and the drawer is closed and no one else is looking at? Can I honor that for me internally? Number 4, make space for what is next. Empty space in the drawer. So as I'm discarding some of these hoodies, sweaters that were shoved in every single drawer that I have, now I have space. Now there's a few drawers that are empty. Empty space in a drawer can feel very uncomfortable at first. very uncomfortable. It can almost feel wrong, like something's missing. The same thing is going to happen in life after letting go. When you let go of the rope of control, when you let go of needing to track your ex, needing to care for their emotions, fix their emotions, manage their emotions, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like something is missing. And oftentimes we go into overdrive to fill that empty space with more unhealthy things. So we want to really slow this down and be the chooser of what goes in that space. Because when you've been through betrayal and divorce, your nervous system is going to crave familiar, even if the familiar wasn't good, wasn't the right fit, too tight, choking you because you don't want to wear the turtleneck anymore, but that's what you were used to. This is why the moment you create space, whether it's emotional, physical, or relational, you might feel the urge to fill it right away. I see this a lot of times in women that jump into those relationships right away. What space are we trying to fill? What void? No judgment if that's what some of you are doing. I just want you to ask yourself the question. It's really important to identify this in ourselves, because sometimes we jump into a relationship soon after to fill that space because we miss this feeling of being chosen, even if we're not ready to trust yet. We're trying to fill that drawer with being chosen or with just having someone in our space. I've shared this before, the empty space of conflict. I had a drawers full of conflict, battle, back and forth, animosity, proving, trying to prove that he is wrong, that what he's saying about me is wrong. I had multiple drawers filled with that. When I emptied all of those out, it felt wrong. It felt weird. It felt uncomfortable. And so I was looking for conflict, looking to fill that drawer back up with conflict. Whatever patterns that previous relationship, whatever void and ways that we were showing up to fill that space, even if it was unhealthy, we got to be very aware of what we're filling that void, that empty drawer with. Maybe it's saying yes to every invitation, favor, taking up every volunteer opportunity, over functioning in our children's life, filling our days with so much to-dos so that we don't have to sit with the quiet. Because if we sit with the quiet, we might feel the pain. We might feel the sad. Maybe we fill our calendar up so full so we don't have a moment to feel lonely or grief. Are we numbing out? Are we distracting? Endlessly scrolling, over drinking, overspending, just to push away the discomfort of that open space. The problem is when we rush to fill the drawer, we often reach for the closest thing. And usually it ends up being more of the same old patterns we just worked so hard to remove. What would it feel like to let the drawer be empty for a time? What if we allow that space to just be space? Healing means letting that space remain open, even if it feels awkward, unfamiliar, wrong, and sometimes unsafe. Remember, what our nervous systems adapted to and towards wasn't safe in that past relationship. We're trying to teach our nervous system what safe really is. And until something truly aligned comes along, it means trusting that the emptiness isn't a sign that you've lost something. It's a sign that you're making space for something better, something healthy. So a self-reflecting question here is, where in my life might I be rushing to fill that empty drawer, to fill that empty space? And what might happen if I allow that space to stay open until it's filled with something really healthy and really aligned? Quick pause in today's episode as I wanted to invite each of you to head over to amiewoolsey.com, go over to Dating From Within workshop, click the interest list, put your email in. I will let you know when the next dating workshop begins. The Dating From Within is learning how to date yourself and how to learn about all the parts of yourself that you will take with you into the dating experience when you're ready. Together, we're going to practice what it means to date yourself and explore what healthy love actually looks like when emotions emotional maturity looks like, how to spot it, learn how to spot the red flags, orange flags, yellow flags before they trip you up. We'll even talk about how to navigate rejection without abandoning yourself. AmieWoolsey.com. Join me for 3-evening intensive, lots and lots of incredible information to help support you along the way. Okay, number 5. Once you have created space, once the drawer is emptied and you've resisted the urge to stuff it back with the familiar, the next step is deciding what gets to go back in. And here's something I really want to encourage you to consider, and watching your brain and the thoughts and the way that your brain frames what goes back in the drawer. For example, it's not about the shoulds. This is what I should put back in the drawer, or this is what I'm supposed to put back in the drawer. It is about what you actually want in there, what feels good, what feels safe, aligned with who you are now, today, the present self, the self that you want to continue to move forward with and grow with. What is your style today? What is your price point? What's your comfortability level? We have to be very intentional with that, because the brain very easily is going to go to the other. I should keep saying yes to every schedule change so that I don't look uncooperative. I am supposed to stay close with my ex's family, maybe just for the kids, even though it doesn't feel safe to me anymore at all. I have to explain myself so no one gets the wrong idea about me. Those are old sweatshirts, too tight, too scratchy, not your style anymore. They don't belong back in your drawer. So what do you want to put back in? Maybe it's more peace and harmony in your life, choosing fewer battles, refusing to re-engage in those cycles of conflict, and allowing the quiet to exist in your home. I did an episode a while ago. I don't remember what I titled it, but something around like creating a healing home. This is such an incredible choice to make to bring peace and harmony back into your space, but it requires you to get rid of some things. Maybe it's boundaries, creating boundaries, which I'm a fan of, creating boundaries that actually protect you. Sometimes when we're creating boundaries or thinking about boundaries, what oftentimes comes right into our mind is the other person. I really want to encourage, when you think about boundaries or where you hear me talk about boundaries, especially in this context, I want you to look inward, turn it toward yourself. How am I going to protect me? What are those things that I will and will not do to keep my space, my drawers, in peace and harmony, safe, enjoyable, fun? Maybe it's say no to the last minute schedule change, or not replying immediately to those guilt-laced text messages. Maybe it's protecting your energy and when and how you spend it. I was just telling a client the other day, one of the most helpful ways that I did this, it was really simple, really easy, didn't involve letting the other person know at all. But every email that I received from my ex went into a specific folder. I had that folder labeled. I won't tell you what I labeled that folder, but it all went to a folder. So when I opened my email, I wasn't seeing anything from him. My boundary was that when I set the time that I was going to open that folder, I was more emotionally and mentally prepared to go into that folder, into that space emotionally, because I knew what I was going to get on the other side every single time. That was a boundary that I created for myself, and the other person didn't need to know anything about it. Maybe putting back in your drawer, it's reciprocal relationships. Maybe now you're going to allow friendships that weren't reciprocal, that weren't healthy, come to a close, and keep in your friendship drawer friendships where you're met with the same care and the effort that you offer. Maybe it's nourishing practices, journaling before bed, thought dumping, creating a morning routine that you love, taking walks, moving your body in a way that you love, trying something creative. Maybe you're putting some more core non-negotiable values back in your drawer, especially those of you that are ready to date. What are your non-negotiables? That is a fantastic thing to identify and be clear with yourself around. Create an entire drawer with your non-negotiables: honesty, self-respect, integrity, freedom. Putting those front and center means that you can measure new opportunities and those new relationships against them. They're very accessible. They're very easy to pull out and look through. Now, how to make this a little bit more doable? First, just name one thing that you're done putting in your drawer. Maybe it's the old role of a fixer, the belief that you have to explain yourself to everybody. Okay, we're We're going to name what we're not putting back in. Then we're going to name the thing that we want to add. It could be something as small as that nightly boundary around your phone. I end my phone time at 8 p.m. I'm not on social media. I'm not taking calls. I'm really giving myself and my brain time to rest, relax, wind down. Maybe that's what you're putting back in your drawer. It can be as small or as big. Big, maybe it's the new way you want to show up in a relationship. The third thing is just practice walking past that quote drawer and ask yourself, when I think about this new choice that I've made, does it feel light? Does it feel aligned? Or does it feel heavy or draining? Does this fit? Because the amount of sweatshirts that I had in my drawer that didn't even fit me was kind of silly. Does this new way of showing up in your life, this new value, this new boundary, does it fit? Does it feel good? Does it align with where you are at today and how you want to step into the future? The beauty of this step is that the drawer belongs to you. All of these drawers, they belong to you. You don't owe anyone an explanation about what's in it. You just get to enjoy the quiet, grounded sense of, yes, this fits. Self-reflecting question here. What do I want to intentionally fill my drawers with so that when I walk past my life, I feel aligned, confident, and at peace with what I've chosen? Okay, so let's bring all of this together. What started as me standing in front of a mountain of hoodies and sweatshirts turned into so much more than a decluttering project. It became a reminder of how healing actually works, slowly and intentionally, one choice at a time, one step at a time. The 5 things that we talked about today: letting go of guilt. You don't have to keep things, roles, relationships just because you invested in them. Holding on can come at a cost more than letting it go. Number 2, intentional rechoosing. Everything in your life deserves a fresh yes. Ask yourself, if I were choosing this today, would I still say yes? Number 3, those private inner wins. Some of your biggest victories will never get an applause, will never get acknowledged, will never be seen. Those doors will not be open for public. They're deeply personal and they matter because of what you know, because you did them. Number 4, making space for what's next. Empty space, empty drawers is going to feel uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Do not rush to fill it. Trust that the emptiness is preparing you for something better. This is a really good opportunity to see what comes up that we need to look at before we go to number 5 and choose what we put back in the drawer. When the time comes to fill that space, fill it with things, people that actually fit. Peace, boundaries, reciprocal relationships, integrity, rest. So no more shoulds, no more have tos, no more supposed tos. I know how hard this journey can be. I know what it feels like to walk around with drawers stuffed, so full of guilt, shame, old roles, patterns that suffocate your peace. And I know how uncomfortable it can be to clear them out, sit with the emptiness, and resist the urge to run back to what is familiar, but not necessarily healthy or safe. You are capable of curating your life with the same intentionality you'd use to fill your drawers. Yes, every yes can be a choice that reflects who you are today. It needs to be, not who you were in the past. And every no is an act of protection for your present and for your future that you are creating. So as you walk past the doors of your life this week, my hope is that you recognize where you feel satisfaction, where you feel growth, where you feel that progress that you've already made, not because anyone sees it, not because anyone else approves, but because you know what's inside, because you chose it. You really are the creator of your life, and you get to create the life, AKA drawers, that you want because you can. Take care, everybody.